But with some of that money, somehow I accumulated enough to buy a 37 Plymouth. And my parents used to foster a family of four. And I would take this one kid, Warren, up in the field, up in back of the barn with my 37 Plymouth, and just go racing around the field with this 37 Plymouth. And I remember one time the door opened and Warren's hanging on the door. I'm surprised. If he would have rolled out, I might have driven over him, but I don't think my parents ever knew that.
How old was he?
How old? I was probably 15 at the time, and he was maybe a little bit younger. Mainly, I couldn't drive it on the street. My dad used it for work. Okay, I think he was in between cars. I think after that he got a 47 Hudson, but it was a 3-speed on the floor.
What color was it?
It was black.
Is that where your passion for working on cars started?
When I think back of it, when we lived in Allentown, my dad was a mechanic too, and a bus driver and a trolley car driver, but he would repair people's cars to make extra money for the family. And he would take me along, and I had to be probably 7, 8 years old, to clean the carbon. Carbon collects deposits on top of a piston and also on the head, which Jeremy knows, so you needed somebody to scrape that off, which is time consuming. So you would take a putty knife and just scrape that off and a wire brush. And because when we lived on the first farm, my dad had a 32 Chevy that he took to our garage and had made into a tractor that we could use on the farm. They would take the body off, just leave the grill shell and the engine, put a tractor seat on it, and a differential from a truck with the big tires in the back. And we used that on the farm to mow grass. What we had was this might be getting off the subject, but we had a pull behind mower with what they call a sickle bore, which extends out about 4 or 5 feet. And you pull it with this tractor. And then there's somebody that sits on the mower, because they raise and lower the blade. And here we had a Cocker Spaniel at the time, and we didn't know it, but he was out in the field with us, and he came up behind us and jumped in front of the sickle bar and cut the one leg off, and the other one, he ended up being a 3-legged dog. So it was my brother and I, Ted and I, and Ted could drive. He had his own 35 Oldsmobile. We hooked up a trailer and put the dog in that and took him into a veterinarian in Emmaus. They sewed the one leg back on. They were able to save that one, but the other one was lost. So, and on the way in, we lived on the back road. A state cop came up behind us, and Ted was speeding. So gave him a ticket yet.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah. Poor Cocker Spaniel. He didn't, Anyhow.